Hey everyone, it's Frosty back for my sixth deep dive deck tech. This time featuring modern staple from Modern Horizons 3, Ajani Nacatl Pariah. 1 and a white for a 1/2. When it enters, you make a cat warrior token that's a 2/1. And whenever one or more other cats you control die, you can exile him, then returns to the battlefield transformed under your control. So on the flip side, it's a planeswalker, which is why we're running him. It has a +2 ability. Put 1/1 counter on each cat you control. Its 0 is the main reason you're playing him. You create a 2/1 white cat creature token, and when you do, if you control red permanent other than Ajani, he deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to any target. This will let you burn off the table very fast, it's great removal, and it makes you bodies. That 0 is insane. Any modern player can tell you this card is busted. And its -4 is each opponent chooses an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker from among the non-land permanents they control, then sacrifices the rest. So this is basically a cataclysm for all your opponents, and it's also an amazing ability. And you can use it on the second turn he's out, and he will survive. This card is so fun, and let's just get right into it. As always, this is going to be my personal deck list for the commander, and I want to just point you in the right direction with great cards that I included, and kind of like the recipe for success, so to speak, for this commander. So we obviously need red permanence, so we can get the most out of his second ability as a planeswalker. We need cats to trigger him. We need sac effects to trigger him. And then on top of that, we're running support cards for the cats that'll pump the cats, like the Type of Lords. We're also running burn effects because we're making a lot of bodies. And this is very much a Skullclamp deck. We're running a couple tutors for Skullclamp because it is probably the best card to trigger Ajani. It's a 1-drop. You can search for it with Stoneforge or many other effects in white, and then it'll draw you cards as you sack those cats. So definitely, Skullclamp is the all-star in this deck. Put it in. Who am I kidding though? Skullclamp's an all-star whenever deck you put it in. The card is amazing. Probably top 20 cards in Commander, like full stop. Despite being a go wide aggro burn deck, we're running a fair bit of ramp. We have Wayfarer's Bauble, Mind Stone, Talisman of Conviction, Arcane Signet as our rocks / land ramp, Restless Explorer that's ramp on a cat. Or it's not quite ramp, it's card fetching for like a basic land, or more than one basic land, but it's on a cat, which is the important part. Fable the Mirror Breaker is a red permanent that'll make us treasure tokens and lets us exclude away bad cards, as well as making us more bodies when it flips over. Catcher's Monument reduces the cost of our spells and then makes us additional bodies. The bodies are relevant because we're running literally every impact tremor effect we can run just to get the most burn possible. And then with the mana you save, you can use it on Skullclamp because these bodies are the perfect size of Skullclamp. So you save 1 mana, use that mana to kill the token, draw 2 cards. Professional Facebreaker is another red permanent that has Menace. It's a good attacker. And we're going to be spreading the love for our opponents because we're damaging everybody equally. So we should be attacking all players, and then we'll make treasures because of that. And he has card draw as well. Cheska's Will is amazing. If your commander is in red and you want to have it out, play this card. It'll ramp you, it'll draw you cards. It's just actual gasoline. One card this deck has to play that most decks don't play is Descent into Avernus. I'm a huge proponent of this card. 2 in a red. At the your upkeep, put 2 descent counters on it. Then each player creates X treasure tokens, and it deals X damage to each player, or X number of descent counters on Descent into Avernus. So in our deck, this card will damage our opponents and ramp us. One important thing with this is that you get the ramp first. So it does ramp everybody. This is a double-edged sword, but boy is it fun to play, and it just turns the game so much faster. We also run a 1-drop cat that gains life when artifacts enter, Lean and Elder. So that will completely negate the effect of this card and actually make it a life-gaining card for you. So if you have both, always jam Avernus. It's so good. And Smothering Tithe as the mass ramp card that will propel us in the late game. Arguably, we don't need Smothering Tithe, but it's just nice to have. If you have like a Skullclamp plus Smothering Tithe, you just can draw through your entire deck, which is fun to do in a boros aggro deck. This deck is a sacrifice aggro beats deck, and so we have kind of fodder mixed with effective creatures. Garrison Cat's a 1/1 that when it dies, you create a 1/1 soldier creature token. So you have 2 bodies for Skullclamp, and it's just an easy cat to sacrifice to get a new body, and also 2 bodies for all of your impact tremor effects. Glittering Lynx is a fun one. It's a 1/1 cat. You prevent all damage that we dealt to it, and for 2 mana, it loses that ability, and any player can use that ability. But early game, this is just like a free blocker. This is the best little wall. As long as they don't trample, this will block them. Sacred Cat is a 1/1 cat with lifelink, and it has a Balm for 1 white to make another 1/1 cat with lifelink. This card is just, again, another great Skullcampable cat, and it'll come down before your commander. They really can't attack you early for fear of making your commander flip, which is kind of a nice deterrent just to have in your deck. I previously mentioned Lean and Elder. It's a 1-drop. It's a 1/1 for 1 white. And whenever an artifact comes into play, you gain 1 life. This is great with Avernus, and this is every player. So Avernus will trigger you like 20 life some games. And this counts Skullclamp, this counts any treasures from anybody, from any source. This card's really good, especially in the current state of Commander where treasures are everywhere. We have Ocelot Pride, Modern Horizons 3, and Modern Boros Energy Staple. This card is insane for 1-drop. It's got First Strike, Lifelink, It's an army in a can. It makes extra bodies if you gain life, which you will because it has lifelink. This card does everything. And lastly, Guide of Souls, because again, why not run the whole energy package in your commander deck? That's a 1-drop, 1/2. Whenever I create ETBs, you gain 1 life and get energy. And you can make your cats fly and make them angels. Who doesn't want that? And just punch your opponents. I know I keep gushing over Skullclamp, like, oh my god, who's this guy? Has he never played Commander before? But Skullcamp's amazing. You know what it does, and you should put it in your sacrifice decks. But to get to it, we're running Stoneforge Mystic, which tutors for an equipment, Steel Saber's Gift to again tutor for the equipment, and Axguard Army as a land. This is nice when you get in Boros. It's just a land you can sacrifice to tutor for any equipment. It only goes to hand, but it's still like nice to have if you draw extra lands. And Stoneforge has the added benefit of being able to put them into play uncounterably. Because we're running Stoneforge, we're also running Battered Skull and Lion Sash. Lion Sash is an equipment and a cat, so it hits all of our boxes for synergy, and it's also great hit, which is kind of nice. As a proud cat owner of Whiskey and Mocha, it's important to protect your cats. They're your babies after all. So we have Bashri, tomorrow's champion. 1 white for a 2/1. You can play him out and exert to make cats with lifelink, or you can cycle him for 2 and a white. When you cycle him, it's just heroic intervention for your cats, which is pretty nice too. And you draw a card. This card is unfortunately so good on both halves. Gives you that like FOMO of like, oh, if I save it for protection, I don't get the exert make cats, which is such a post Modern Horizons first world problem. But I really want to get both halves of Basri, and I never can. We're also running an They Shall Know No Fear. 1 and a white, choose a creature type. Creatures you control the chosen type get +1/+0, gain indestructible. This is good both on offense as like a small anthem type effect, but more importantly, if like someone Raz, having 2 mana just stop the wrath is amazing. And lastly, Jolted Awake. 1 white for a sorcery. Choose 1 artifact or creature card in your graveyard, then you get 2 energy. You may pay an amount of energy with the card's mana value. If you do, return it from the graveyard to the battlefield. And it's got cycling. We don't often want to cycle this. This is just an easy way to get back our commander because the base is 2. It also gets back Skull Clamp. So this gets back the 2 best cards in our deck. Now for the sack effects, or how we're flipping our commander to the good side. Running Fountain Port, you can draw cards by sacrificing tokens. You can make tokens to trigger Impact Tremors effects. This card is very good in this deck. And even if you're drawing nothing late game, this card as a land will help pull you ahead. We have the special nod to the red permanents that can be sacrifice engine. Greater Gargadon, which I haven't heard that name in a while. We're not running Balance because it's banned, but it's a 10 drop beast with suspend 10 for 1 red, which is what we're casting it for. And while it's suspended, you can sacrifice an artifact, creature, or land to remove a time counter from it. Activate it only if it's suspended. You can just play this on 1, play Ajani on 2, immediately flip him. And then late game, this is going to be a 9/7 with haste. We're also running a singleton Flags on the Care to sacrifice to get a land and speed him out a little bit earlier. If you play Modern, you know Goblin Marmot's an insane card with Ajani. They're both 2 drops, but when you sacrifice a creature, it deals 1 damage to any target. So he will spit out cats, you will spit out cats, you will have cats everywhere to just fling at your opponents for damage. And it's also red permanent, so it'll help trigger Ajani's second ability to do damage to any target. Blood Aspirant, so 1 in a red for a 1/1 Satyr Berserker. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put a counter on it, so this grows whenever you're doing your sacrifice thing, which you're doing hopefully every single turn. And for 1 in a red, you can tap it, sacrifice a creature or enchantment. It deals 1 damage to target creature. They can't block this turn. This will help push through damage. It's also a massive attacker or blocker if you need it. And it's red permanent, so it kind of checks all the boxes you want to be doing in your aggro sacrifice deck. The last card that's red is Redcap Gutter Dweller. It's 2 and 2 red for a 3/3 menace. When it enters, create 2 tokens that are rats that can't block. This is great for Impact Tremors effects. It'll deal 3 damage to each opponent or more, depending on which one you have. And in your upkeep, you may sacrifice another creature, hopefully a cat to trigger a Johnny. And when you do, you can put 1 counter on this creature and exit top of your library. You can play that card this turn. So this card does, again, everything you want to be doing. It's kind of drawing cards. It's a sack engine. It's a red permanent. And it hits pretty hard. Lastly, as a sacrifice cat itself, we have Felidar Cub, 1 and a white for a 2/2. It's a cat beast. You can sacrifice to destroy target enchantment. So this by itself, if you have a Johnny, can flip a Johnny. Now my favorite part of the deck, burning our opponents to a tasty little crisp. In addition to Ajani just murdering our opponent's life totals and making cats, and maybe even pumping cats, we have Sunspine Lynx, 2 and 2 red for a 5/4 elemental cat, which is already fine on rate alone. Damage can't be prevented, players can't gain life. When it enters, it deals damage to each player, similar to non-basic lands the player controls. This will murder 3 and 4 color decks or 5 color decks when it comes down, and it's a red cat, so it checks off 2 more boxes for us. Arabelle, Abandoned Dolls, red-white for a 1/3. When it attacks, deals X damage to each opponent, you gain X life, or X number of creatures you control power 2 or less. This synergizes with a go wide board and will, again, drain our opponents for so much. It'll probably die in combat, but that 1 attack trigger is generally enough. And it's a red permanent for Ajani again. Now we get into the literal 5 Impact Tremor types effects, including Impact Tremors, 1 in a red. Whenever creature ETBs under my control, do 1 damage to each opponent. Pretty standard stuff. War Leader's Call has the same effect, but it also pumps your cats +1/+1. This is worse with Skull Clamp in hand, but it also is better for just attacking out. Witty Roastmaster is a red creature, does the same thing. Whenever a creature has battlefield control, one each opponent. Notably, these are all red permanents again for Ajani to help trigger that second ability. Molten Gatekeeper is a new Modern Horizons All-Star. Whenever another creature enters, deal 1 damage to each opponent. It also has Unearth, which is nice if you sacrifice it for extra value, or they destroy it. It's a 2/3 for 3. This card is actually a sleeper card from Modern Horizons 3. Put this in more decks. And lastly, but definitely the best, is Perforos. Indestructible, 3 in a red for a 6/5. It's often not a creature, but it doesn't matter to you because you're again using the burn effect. And when a creature ETBs, this time deal 2 damage to each opponent. And lastly, you can pump your entire team, which is nice because you are again going wide. Since we are going wide, we have various anthems. We already mentioned War Leader's Call. We're also running King of the Pride, 2 in a white for a 2/1. It's just Savannah Lion, but it pumps all your other cats by Savannah Lion. They get +2/+1. It's a nice flavorful nod, plus I really like the art on this one. Giselle Goldmane is the brother of Ajani who dies. Don't tell anyone, it's a spoiler. But it's a 4/4 for a striker. For 2 and 2 white, which is not an amazing body to be fair, but it's the second ability that matters. Basically, a Crater Hoof effect for attacking creatures. 3 and 2 white. Attacking creatures you control get +X/+X on a turn, where X is the number of attacking creatures. So this will again probably finish off your opponents if it's allowed to live. Moontrigger Cavalry is the Crater Hoof in white. It's 5 and 3 white for a Flying Spirit Knight. When it enters, creatures you control get flying and get +X/+X on a turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. This will again murder your opponents if you have any kind of board, so run this card. And lastly, the typo specific one, Shared Animosity, 2 in a red for an enchantment, which is red, which is also helpful for you. Whenever a creature you control attacks, gets +1/+0 another turn. For each other attacking creature that shares a type with it. All of your cats will get pumped by the number of cats that are not themselves. And if you're playing the deck right, that should be a large number. We're in Boros, we don't have a lot of card draw outside of Skull Clamp, but we do have Welcoming Vampire and Enduring Innocence. They're both going to let us draw cards and our creature power 2 or less enters, which is most of our creatures, because we're running a bunch of weenies, but just they're more powerful in multiples. Enduring Innocence has Lifelink, which is not nothing, but not super relevant. It's a 2/1, so it's Skull Campable, but when it dies, it comes back as an enchantment, which is arguably the best ability. These cards are both amazing. You should run both in any deck that is a weenie deck. Running Archivist of Ogmaw. Our removal does often exile and give our opponents a land. Separately, green players ramping will let us draw cards and gain life. And it's got 2 power for our Welcoming Vampire type effects, so we can draw extra cards. Collector, 3 and a white. Not only is this one a draw spell, it also prevents our opponents from drawing too many cards. It's a flash 3/4 cat cleric, so against the cat typing. If an opponent would draw 2 or more cards, instead you and that player each draw a card. This will deny our opponents and make sure we're drawing cards as well. Lastly, Virtue of Courage. It's a red permanent. It also is a moderately small removal spell early, but whenever it starts to control, it does not have a damage to an opponent, which is, again, how we're dealing most of our damage. You can exile that many cards off your library. You can play those cards this turn. This card will draw us so many cards, as again, every creature enters, does a damage, exiles a card. Maybe it's a creature, enters, does a damage, exile a card. As long as you've got mana, this card can get you cards off top of your deck. So again, this is like one of the reasons we're running Smothering Tithe. When we do use mana, we just go off the rails. And so this card is amazing in the right deck, and this is the right deck. Now for some cats that are higher on the curve, we have Arabo the First Fang, 2 and white for a 2/2. It's a lord for all your cats with +1/+1. When one other cat you control enters, create a 1/1 cat. This card goes nuts. It's like the best mono white cat that exists right now. It just keeps giving you extra bodies and pumps your team. We got Photo Retreat. Not a cat, but it makes cats. It's got landfall. Whenever land TVs, choose one. Either make a 2/2 white cat beast token, or put 1/1 counter on each creature you control. They gain vigilance. This either pumps a team or makes a team. This card is great. Definitely run it. Lean in War Leader, 2 and 2 white for a 4/4 cat soldier. When it attacks, create 2 1/1 cats that are tapped and attacking, and they have lifelink. This is just more bodies from back tremors. You can sacrifice them immediately, or they can gain life to stick around. More bodies is better for this deck for sure. We're just going as wide as possible with as many cats as possible. Regal Caracal, 3 and 2 white. It's a 3/3 cat. It gives your cats +1 and lifelink. Some of our stuff is a double-edged sword, so having lifelink on so many cats is kind of relevant. And then separately, it by itself is 7 power worth of bodies. And recurring theme, bodies plural for impact tremors effects. White Mane Lion is 1 and white for a 2/2 with flash. When it enters, return a creature you control to its owner's hand, including itself. This is great with Catcher's Monument to make extra tokens and bodies, and the cost reduction makes it 1 white, so it's much easier to cast on the mana. And then separately, this is great to save your creatures in a pinch. But the main reason is to shred people with a Catcher's Monument plus a Impact Tremor effect. It will just destroy their life total. Grimaz is probably the weakest of our like body spawning cats, but it's 3 mana, 1 and 2 white for a 3/4 vigilant cat that spawns cats and attacks or blocks. These cats will probably die in combat, but it is again more impact tremor triggers. If they do survive, they're great score hitable targets. This card's pretty good. For more cats from Foundations, we have Helpful Hunter. It's the new enter draw card cat variant. It's 1 and a white for a 1/1. You just care that it enters and draws a card. It triggers impact tremors. It's skull campable. This card's great. You should run it. Sky Knight Squire. 1 and a white for a 1/1. Whenever a creature control enters, it grows, put one counter on it, and as long as it has 3 more counters on it, it has flying as a knight and other types. We spawn so many bodies, this will have flying, and it's just a big flying cat that hits hard or blocks well. Speaking of big bodies, Torian Mauler is a red cat, and it's also the biggest dang cat I ever seen. So run this card. As for removal, we're running Path to Exile, Thraben Charm, Wind to Abandon, and that's about it, because again, our commander is removal, so we don't necessarily need a lot of spells for that. The path effects get the nod over swords here because we're not trying to get our opponent's life, we're trying to reduce their life to 0. We have Enlightened Ascetic, 1 and a white for 1/1, ETB, destroy an enchantment, and it's another cat, so it's skull campable. Now for some miscellaneous cats, we got Glittering Lion, it's just a big version of Glittering Lynx. Same effects, but on 2/2 body, it's just a nice blocker for our commander. Adorned Pouncer, it's a 1/1 with double strike. For 2 mana, it's a cat, it's skull campable, and then you can eternalize it to make it much bigger as a 4/4 double striker for 5 mana. This cat benefits the most from our various anthems. Next, we've got Kutsu's Flanker. It's a flash 3/1. When it enters, choose 1, put 1/1 counter on it. For each creature that's battlefield this turn under your control. If someone board wipes, this is a nice giant threat to clock them back for a ton of damage. You can gain 2 life and scry 2. That's probably the least used mode, but late game is not bad to make sure you're going to draw into some gas, hopefully. And lastly, exile to our player's graveyard. So we have multiple ways to just attack the graveyard in this deck. And those are often decks that can get out fast, and you can punish them severely with all the graveyard hate. Metastatic Evangel is not a cat, but it is campable. This deck is nothing if not consistent. 1 and a white for a 3/1. Whenever another non-token enters the battlefield under your control, proliferate. This will help grow your commander, and if your commander has pumped your team, it'll help you grow your team. Lastly, Arcane of Absolution. This is mostly here to stop them from attacking Ajani with their full force. It's a flyer, 3/2 with pro white, and creatures can attack you or planeswalker you control. Unless I pay 1 for each of those creatures. So this is just like an efficient way to stop Ajani from just getting destroyed immediately on the battlefield, and it can fly, either attacking or blocking. That about does it for the cards. We're an aggro deck, so we're only running 35 lands. But it's honestly okay because our curve is very low. Honestly, say it's the right call. Some utility lands and some fixing. I'm just going to go over the utility lands for now. This deck is full aggro. We are still a fielded deck. The extra bodies will trigger impact tremors and also just be sacrifice fodder for common bombardment. You really want to run field if you're going wide. Flaxlands Care I mentioned is for the Greater Gargadon. That's mostly it, but it's a white source comes in untapped. Path of Ancestry, we're a cat deck running a lot of cats, and so scrying to filter our draws is pretty nice. Maria's Call, just if we expect a board wipe, just play this and make sure your team comes around until next turn. Witch Enchanters at MDFC that should go in every white deck, almost full stop. Minas Tirith, if we attack with a creature, you can draw a card. It's solid. Castle Embereth lets you pump the team to again push in for damage. Stunning Eruption is great in that it destroys problematic lands, maybe like a Glacial Chasm, and then you can swing and non-flyers can't block you, so you can get through with a lot of your cats for extra damage. Volatile Fault for just more non-basic land hate. We're running Sheffet Dunes and Remenap Ruins, as well as Scavenger Grounds. Graveyard hate, because we again just very rarely use a graveyard in this deck, if at all. Remenap also can dome opponents, and Sheffet come off the team. Den of the Bugbear and Zokenton make red permanents, and they also just are pretty aggressive for lands. Because the field are running Fable Passage, Arid Mesa, and Prismatic Vista to just again get double triggers on the landfall. The rest is just basics and mana fixing lands, so build it how you see fit. And that's my deep dive deck tech for Ajani Nacatl Pariah. If you're looking for a Commander Burn deck, a deck for your friend from Modern who you want to get into Commander, or just a deck with cats, this is probably the deck for you. It's super fun, it has a lot of cool lines. Hope you liked it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, I'm S Freezy. Stay frosty, my friends.